Hey guys, Jen here. This is a by the seat of my pants kind of video. Give me a second to pull up a screen and share it with you. Wanted to make sure everything was working. I'm going to pull up kind of a mix here right now because we're going to look at a few things regarding May 1st as far as what day it is across the calendar for a variety of different people because I wanted to make note of a couple of things on today. And I have a little bit of personal testimony to add to my ongoing testimony. So I have to say, if you're new here, if you're new to the channel, this is kind of what we do here. I break down current events and what we see in the headlines. I feel like it's a different way than most people do. I feel like we kind of got it started on my original channel, Brie and Jen, and the butterfly effect and God kind of just took the things that he was showing me and has kind of spread them all over TikTok and everywhere. So that's pretty awesome to be a small part of that. All the glory goes to God. So I want to say everybody here is welcome, regardless of whether you're a Protestant, a Catholic, a Christian, a Muslim. You're all welcome here. All that I ask is that we don't make any hasty or rash judgments against each other. Christ told us to judge righteously, and what that means is we are to judge by the Spirit and not by the way somebody looks, or even always by what they say, or even just by taking a small frame of their existence and judging their whole life based on that one edited frame. Like, I'm convinced at this point that editing is of the devil, but that's just my opinion. So I got to add a little personal testimony, and I was watching Enter the Stars, Casey. He's got a really awesome channel. He should have definitely more subs by now. I had lost him and my sub to him, and I kind of just forgot what the name of his channel was. But I'm glad he showed up in my feed. It's always a good thing to share other people's channels because you get more things put in your own algorithm that way as well. And like I've said before, you don't want to be stuck in one paradigm where you're looking at everything from the same perspective or the same corner of the room. You want to be able to get above the situation as best you can. We'll never be completely above it like God. Imagine like a Westworld type of board game. We are under the firmament or the computer screen of God's, and within it. So we'll never be, or at least not right now, we'll never be above it to where we can see like he can. But we should try to not dwell forever in politics or entertainment or even religion. We should try to broaden our horizons and learn new skills and learn what people of different groups really think and really believe instead of judging them from the outside. So with so many new people here, I just wanted to say that straight away and to welcome you, of course, and ask you not to judge me, and I won't judge you, by certain things. Now, we're going to have disagreements. We're not going to agree on everything, absolutely. But I think we all have something to learn from each other, and I think we all have pieces of the puzzle. And if I were the devil, and I like to play devil's advocate because you have to know your enemy to a point. If I were the devil, I would have taken the times and confused those, and I would have taken the history and done exactly what he did and threw a book here, threw a book there, one on this continent, one on that continent. And I do believe that there is some truth in every holy book across the world. A lot of us are saying similar things and praising in the same way, just in different languages. And we're allowing ourselves to be divided that way. God never said, go forth and be divided. He said, go forth and multiply. So while we are supposed to be different and have different languages and even different cultures to a point, we have to have balance, right? When somebody else is worshiping God, but they're doing it in Greek or Latin, that doesn't mean they're worshiping a different God. It just means they're speaking in a different language. You have to ask them to know. Try not to get caught up in all the fear mongering about different groups of people. And now, having said that, I try not to make blanket statements. Now, you're going to hear some things from me right now, especially if you're new here, that are going to be a little out of your framework. And if you haven't heard my testimony up until now, it might confuse you a little bit. So I'm going to come right off the bat with what I think is going on with the screens, who I think people are, where I think they're from. And I'm going to lead into a little part of my testimony. This is not going to be a long video. I like to give 3 or 4 or 5 minutes for people to show up. And then I kind of launch into what I'm going to get into. So for anyone who's new here, in 2018, my whole world was flipped upside down. I had got lost to sin for a couple of years. I was blind deaf and stupid, spiritually speaking. I took a free trip to Florida with an alleged neighbor to help her with her children, and I came back and everybody was different. And when I was down in Florida, it was the end of those Slender Man found footage things, and that does matter because I'm going to explain something using that story. When I came back here to Ohio, everybody was different. There's a Netflix series called The Devil is in Ohio, and I think it's absolutely true. You're not going to believe a lot of what I say. You're going to be so caught up in what's on the screen that you're not going to understand what I'm trying to say. But I would beg you to try and listen, because the mass majority, the things that trend, are the things that the children of God want to run from. If something is big and it is booming and it is trending, usually chances are that thing is the wrong way to go. Okay? For example, the rap music, the some of the entertainment, a lot of the stuff that got really big was really bad for us. So I'm going to try and explain things to you. Number one, they're never going to show the tribulation on TV. They will never show that on the screen. Number two, if somebody else defeats death and is risen from the dead, they will never show that on TV. If things like that get shown, it will be the power of God doing it. They will never show the true tribulation happening on the screens. You will never see that unless it's the sake of causing you to fear and to bring you into the satanic kingdom. You will never see these things. Everybody is watching the news and watching what they call Israel, the state of Israel. When you go to court, who are you against? And I didn't know this in my domestic violence case that happened after I came home from Florida, and everybody was different. And I believe they put something in my left ear. I got 13 stitches and my ear sewn back on. And there was like nobody at the hospital. Like I said, this whole area has been like a set for probably longer than I would like to know. Um, so everything that you see on the screen is very deliberate, it is very timed, and it is all acting. They even tell you when they deliver the news, they say bad actors. When did that come into play? When did people start saying that? Pay attention to the words that they use. They also said recently something about, I saw on TikTok areas, and I don't have TikTok, I see compilations sometimes, and this is why you don't have a long attention span. You need to listen to people's full stories, because they're even trying to divide us and cause agitation to bring Albert Pike's dream of this societal civil race war to fruition by agitating us and getting us against each other. And they are editing down certain clips and telling you they mean one thing when they actually mean another. I mean, I finally have seen coherent clips of Kamala Harris speaking, and I didn't think she could speak a coherent word with what the media was showing me. And now I see these speeches she's given that I've never even seen or heard. But remember, they are all proxies. Now, what do I mean by this? On the screen, they will show you representation of what is in the real life. And I haven't quite figured it out yet. I don't know, honestly, if we're looking sometimes at parallel dimensional lives or if it is for this realm. Why am I saying that? If you go to the public domain channel here, it has a video. One of the oldest movies ever made was Noah's Ark, the original. Watch it. Hone your discernment. It does not look fake. These cameras have been here the whole time. Our privacy has always been invaded. They are just now going to talk about it because they know people are catching on, and they've got a lot of damage control to do to try and ensure that the whole place isn't just turned upside down. Because when you find out the truth, you are separated from the world for a period of time for your own good. I believe God does that, because when you wake up to what's happening here, it is dark. But Christ told us to keep our mind on heavenly things, absolutely. But we are still supposed to also, in the Great Commission, expose evil. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to show you something to help you put into a proper framework what I mean when I talk about what they show us on TV are representations. Well, first of all, I don't think any of the politicians or the entertainers, when we go to see them, I don't think they are, not all of them are the original version of themselves. Some of them are doubles. And we all know this, most of us from the 80s, we know that there used to be a lot of impersonators and doubles that you could see. When I worked at the nursing home, we had a fake Elvis come in for the old folks and sing, and they loved it. So there was a lot of that back then. What I mean is the people on the screen are very large, and I've been trying to show you that for a couple of years now, using Taylor Swift and the girl who's touring with her, who's regular size. She's like my size. But then you got Taylor Swift, who's like 7 or 8 foot, and I'm serious. That's how big she looks. And it's very obvious once you see her on tour with that little girl next to her, Sabrina Carpenter, and how awkward she looks next to her. Now, and again, I'm just going to keep going because this isn't about bashing anyone. This isn't about saying one group is bad or all bad. I think the Bible tells us preach the gospel to all creatures because I think everyone can be saved. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, why do I need saved? They get very proud when you say that. They don't want to hear that. Why would God put me here just to need saved? From yourself, basically, from yourself and the other beings that are here who also had free will and chose to go another way. So when I came back from that trip in 2017, 2018, a man walked into our lives, allegedly from LA, allegedly had been on TV. I saw him on a pilot. I've shared it on the channel. Again, I'm going to do my best not to name names because we're not at that point yet. I don't think that's going to help anybody. And they change their names all the time. And sometimes, as you should know now, they change the way they look, either with those really tight latex or with witchcraft, true Native American Navajo shape-shifting wicked power the two by doing very wicked things. You have to sacrifice a loved one. I believe I was going to be one of those. I was going to be ended. I believe also that God put me in this family very specifically. I was indoctrinated into the Catholic Church at a young age, taught to listen to my elders. I had my mouth washed out with soap for like a couple of years straight, separated from both of my parents. I mean, it's just, again, now looking back, it's like, okay, all this happened with a purpose. Somehow the true gospel, I knew Jesus even then, but I forgot for a while and God let me go back to sleep. But when I came back from Florida in 2018, we met this man, and that's when my whole life changed. And at that time, I thought a spiritual rapture had happened, and somehow my family members were replaced. And I didn't believe in the rapture back then, but I didn't know what else it could be. Possession? Why is everyone so different? Why are their eating habits different? Why are their sleeping habits different? Why are they saying words that are very old and I don't understand? My spouse one day said to me, I didn't know you were a grower. He doesn't talk that way. He's never talked like that. And I never was actually. My spouse would have made fun of me and said something else. I always killed plants in the past until I came back to God. Anyways, we met this man and he changed our whole life. And he said that he was, when nobody else was around, of course, there were no witnesses but myself. He said he was a fallen angel and asked me to let him in the house. Now, he was already at our house. I thought he was just far gone and had stayed up too late tattooing with my husband. And all the things that came into our life at that time are a part of the public now. So when I say proxy and when I say the giants are already on the screen, I mean that. Okay. I worked with a young man who looks just like JD Vance. And you can tell when you look at JD Vance, there's something there going on with his eyes. I don't know if they add the eyeliner because they're adding like a different face. I'm not sure what's going on there. But a lot of people that are on the screen, I know. And a lot of bigger YouTubers are in this area now. I already was told that the Pittsburgh area was going to be like the new Hollywood, and there's going to be a smart city allegedly in Columbus, which is to my south. Um, And my spouse always had some weird connection to YouTube, but that's all I'm going to say about that. They use proxies. The guy that calls himself Elon Musk is not actually him, okay? Bezos, whoever that actually is, they are representatives. They are proxies of the real individuals. But when you see them, they are also very giant. Why is this? And why am I showing you this page? One, I think it was Paul Cook's channel. He was talking at Tribes. These are the giants who allegedly went extinct in the DC area. That is where they settled, was in the DC area. When John Smith came over on the boat, he referred to them as being giants. Now, and again, I like to back up what I say. I have a good memory, but you don't know that, and you might be new here, so I want you to be able to see, I'm not just making things up. He described Susquehannocks as great and well-proportioned men. Great men. Isn't that what the Bible says too? They were men of renown. Based on archaeological evidence, they were no taller than average modern-day American, but more robust than Smith's explorers. Again, we have to be careful, okay? And a lot of people don't, there's a lot of double-mindedness happening. We know not to trust the media, but then we go right to them for our information. We've got to stop doing that and just defragment the messages that they're sending amongst themselves. Now, I had to get you on the mind frame of proxies so that you understand what I'm about to talk about. But I'm going to enter another piece of testimony here before I dive into this next part. So I had to wake my son up for work today, and I went to get him up. And again, everything means something. Everything that these people say to me, everything that happened in our lives in 2017, 18 is now in the public. My oldest son said to me, as I'm trying to wake him up, I'm like, do you work today? Do you work today? And he said the date. He said, yeah, 9/11. And I was like, what? And that's what he said in his sleep. Now, people say you can't say that word on here. You can say it. Like, people say it all over. So you really got to, like, stop with the fear mongering and saying, we can't say that. We're not allowed to say that. The people that say that, they're obviously being controlled because somebody is controlling their speech and what they say. All right. So for some reason, he said that to me. Now, what is May 1st? May 1st. Again, I'm going to get back to the proxies. Just keep that in the back of your mind. May 1st is sometimes a pagan holiday. So let's type in here, instead of just May 1st holidays, let's type in the pagan. Again, just so you can see, I'm not just whistling Dixie or whatever. May 1st is May Day. It's the festival of fire. It is Beltane. Let's see what's required of them on this day and what they are to do on this day. If it works. Let me make sure you guys are current with me here. There we go. And it lets me know if you understand the verbiage I'm using. So this is a pagan thing. Now, I'm not telling you to be pagan. I'm not telling you to believe in this stuff. They believe it. That's what you need to understand is they believe this, okay? First is Beltane, the halfway point between spring equinox and summer solstice. It's the celebration of Now, again, this is a very tame website I put up here. They are often required to do certain things on these days. And so I'm going to Google something else and then I will bring the screen over to you so that you can see it. I'd just like to make sure everybody's still here. Right? Now let's go ahead and see. This is the Pagan Grimoire. Let's see what they have to say about it in their own words. Again, I'm not teaching you about the occult, okay? A lot of these people are peaceful, that it is just about nature to them. It is just about the dancing type of thing. But don't let the flowers fool you, okay? If you look into it, it can get very wicked. It was celebrated traditionally with large bonfires, livestock blessings, and community rites meant to protect the land and encourage fertility. The name Beltane comes from Old Irish Beltane, often translated as bright fire. Who do we know that comes as an angel of light and is the light bringer, and who allegedly gave man the power of fire? Nobody trusts the CDC anymore, but before that, the CDC, when people actually listened to them, they had that listed as a carcinogen, that barbecuing and cooking at high flame, any food, is carcinogenic for you. Again, I don't believe or receive that information anymore personally. I know what's actually going on with that, and I know that it's able to be given to people. This is not a medical channel. No part of this is medical advice. This is a spiritual defragment channel. It is for those with ears, and if you don't have the ears to understand what I'm saying to you, then you don't need the information, obviously. So it says, emphasizing themes of fertility, sacred union, and celebration of nature's peak energy. While the sacred union of the god and goddess and dancing around the maypole were not part of the original Celtic rites, they are in common in contemporary observances, blending historical inspiration with modern spiritual practice. For those interested in celebrating, here are some rituals, recipes, and altar ideas. Now, again, I could pull up the angelfire.com one. That's the one I found in my father-in-law's computer, the one he used to watch Spanish soap operas as he aged and took on a very similar appearance to the Pope. He looked a lot like him. I shared some pictures. You should be able to see those. All right, so now I want to show you, that's your warning about May 1st. I imagine you're going to see a lot of messages being passed today through the media. I imagine there's going to be certain things that pop up today. There's allegedly a serial killer in the New England states, the New England area. So there's a lot going on. So that's your warning part of today. And I don't want to get into the dark parts of that because it gets pretty bad. Oh, not again. Hello. What is happening? Thank you for your patience. Your connection is unstable. Was I able to get back to it? All right, so I want to make sure that this is still working. I'm going to go to a different page and just see if it comes up to see if things are moving or not. Hello. Terrible. Absolutely terrible.